Our younger generation is exposed to so much more than any generation before us. For example, like our parents and things didn't have cell phones growing up like we do. The ability to receive and send information is literally at their fingertips with cell phones, laptops, and tablets and other things like that. We live in a world where everything becomes a competition, basically. We're constantly trying to send and receive this information, and it's a rush to get from place to place. You're always going, for example, from ball field to ball field, or from school to work, or school to the ball field, things like that. There's so much more violence in the world today as well, and poor moral use in our world, and I do believe modern media is responsible for this in some way. We should definitely monitor what our younger generation is exposed to and filter these things. For example, you can use parental controls on television now and things like that. So within our world, it's becoming excessively violent. 70% of Americans are worried that popular culture like modern media and social media is lowering moral standards. Everywhere you go, you can't go out into public without hearing someone cussing like a sailor, things like that. Moral development follows a specific path as well. If you are brought up where good moral use is not taught to you, then more than likely you won't use good morals in your life and teach your kids that. So it's like a chain reaction. We can easily monitor and filter what our younger generation is exposed to. Just as our younger generation is exposed to more within modern media and technology has advanced in that area, technology to filter this modern media is advanced as well. For example, it doesn't even have to be, it can be as simple as your parents going through your phone and checking your text messages. My parents have always personally done that. And most people agree that modern media is responsible for degrading morals. On television, there's such things as parental controls. You can pick which channels your children can and cannot watch. Television is a big reason for this modern media abuse because of violent movies and things like that that children are exposed to. Also, the various media that our younger generation is exposed to is a very easy source of propaganda that reaches our children and basically just takes over their minds. Propaganda was used a lot during the Cold War, that's where we see it most, but you see it in advertisements and things like that. Now it's at your fingertips on your phones with ads on Facebook, games, and things like that. So we can visualize the future of decreasing the violence and poor behavior by preventing it with closer monitoring of our children. Like going back to your parents being able to go through your phones and the parental controls on TV, the social media degrades attentiveness also in schooling and things like that. So it can affect your success in life more than likely. If you're constantly worried about your phone at school and things like that, you're not paying attention to the teacher and you're not learning anything. We can also prevent by cutting back time on devices and filtering what's accessible. For example, give your children a certain amount of time on their phones a day. They're not allowed to constantly be on it, like at the dinner table, you're not allowed to have your phone. That's also good moral use as well. So basically, in conclusion, we should monitor and filter what our younger generation is exposed to. There's so much they can access that our parents and my parents can't access. I know little kids like at my church that are 3 and 4 years old are running around with iPhone 6s, knowing how to use them. When I was 3 and 4 years old, all we had was little portable CD players, things like that. They're just exposed to so much more. The violence has gotten out of hand in our world, and I think violent video games are part of that as well. So going around to my communications class, I asked the question, modern media has negatively impacted the use of good morals in our younger generation. I asked it to 7 people in our class, and 5 of the 7 strongly agreed with that statement. 1 of the 7 agreed, and then 1 of the 7 strongly disagreed. So overall, it has shown that modern media is responsible for poor and violent behavior and thoughts in the younger generation.